How's it going, guys? I'm here to review the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, a true classic.
Rex Reed called the most horrifying motion picture I have ever seen. This film is positively ruthless in its attempt to drive you right out of your mind.
This film takes place in a hot summer, August 18th, 1973. This movie sets up with a bunch of kids, a group of friends, 5 friends, that venture out to Texas to see if one of the characters' grandfather's grave hasn't been ruined or anything happened to the body, pretty much, because there's been grave robberies around in Texas when the movie starts up. And the 2 main characters' name is Sally and Franklin. Of course, they're brother and sister. Franklin is a little disabled. He's in a wheelchair while Sally's enjoying life with her friends, and that's when Franklin kind of gets in a bad mood where I feel like he's just being used, or he's just not getting enough attention. Pretty much, he's acting like a little man-child, like a crybaby throughout most of the film. But in the same time, at least in my opinion, you kind of feel for him. You kind of relate why he's in a pissy mood, because people are just neglecting the hell out of Franklin in this movie. But along the way, they pick up a creepy hitchhiker, and of course, as soon as they pick up this hitchhiker, of course, things are already weird. He's already saying some weird stuff. He takes a photo of one of them. He charges them for that photo. And then they said no. He gets pissed, so he lights the photo on fire, thus kicking him out of the car. But he cuts he cuts Franklin's arm, and then as he cuts it, he uses the blood to smear it on the car. And that's when they decide to stop by the gas station along the way to get some gas, to get some direction. But of course, the owner of the gas station, or who works there, is Drayton Sawyer. Drayton Sawyer is a character that will appear in more of these Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, but I'm not going to tell you what he does really, but all I can say is he's a cook, and he cooks barbecue. So when they finally stop at the Franklin place, they then find another farmhouse to see if they can get any help, get any direction, or just pretty much just directions and then help. But of course, once they go in the farmhouse, that's when one of them gets killed by Leatherface. And from that point on, Leatherface is one of the most best iconic horror villains and slashers of all time. And from this point forward, Leatherface is just killing these characters off one by one, slasher style. Of course, in numerous ways, he can skin them alive, kill them with a chainsaw, uses a sledgehammer. Shit, he even wears his victim's face as a mask. And then it's revealed at the end of the movie, Leatherface is part of a cannibalistic family, but I'm not going to tell you who's part of that family. But Leatherface is part of a cannibalistic family. They kill their victims, they hunt them, but of course they always have to use one for their food, for the cooking, for the barbecue. Wink, wink. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. Honestly, this is one of the best horror films of all time. It's a true classic, one of the most original horror films of all time. This film was directed by Tobe Hooper, who did Poltergeist, Salem's Lot, and Life Force, which is really cool. And the character Leatherface, he's inspired by the true real-life serial killer Ed Gein. So that's what Ed Gein used to do. He used to kill his victims and then uses their skin for like furniture, masks, pretty much anything. So that's where they got the idea from, the Wisconsin murders, pretty much. I love how low budget and raw this movie looks, because it gives you like a documentary feel in this movie. It makes it more realistic, but even though it's strictly a horror movie, it's fake, but the low budget just helps the factor of making it look real and more disturbing than ever. I love the hell out of this movie. This movie is disturbing. This movie is pretty terrifying. The funny story about this movie is I actually watched it for the first time when I was really young, maybe too young. Then I should have watched this movie when I was older, but I watched it at my dad's friend's house. They had a bunch of family members, bunch of friends and family pretty much. And then we all watched this one night. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. I remember everybody's reaction to certain scenes, certain jump scares, the ending. I just remember everything. It was truly one of the best memories I have in my younger years. And this is the best one in the franchise. I'll tell you that right now. So as each sequel goes, I mean, not all the sequels are bad, but I'll get to all. I'll get to more of the movies. But so far, this is the best one in the franchise, and I will rate this movie a 9 out of 10. Highly recommend this horror film. If you guys haven't seen it, if you guys like horror but haven't seen it, then I definitely recommend this movie. Like, what are you doing? Go watch it. So that was my quick review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. Please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And I'll see you guys in the next entry.
Sally, I hear something. Stop! Stop!
This is the movie Rex Reed called the most horrifying motion picture I have ever seen. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from New Line Cinema.